You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Hello and welcome to the 103rd episode. That still blows my mind, by the way, that I can talk about acting for 103 episodes. Anyway, I've still got tonsillitis, which is why my voice sounds a bit funny, and I might not sound that enthusiastic. So if this is the very first episode you're listening to, and this is the first episode you've found, I definitely am enthusiastic. I'm just poorly, so apologies in advance. But today's episode is going to be a belter. I can't wait to dive into it. We're talking about the 2 exercises that you need when your emotions are blocked. So I get a lot of requests for episodes on emotions, and I have done episodes on these in the past, but I got an absolutely brilliant question inside the Method Actor Circle from one of our actors who is part of that. So what we do every Thursday inside the Method Actor Circle is we have a Craft of Acting Q&A, and this is just to make sure that I am on top of my acting students' development. So they get to ask me questions between the classes. And Nathan wrote in and he said, I'm having trouble with accessing emotions because of this feeling of being blocked. So that is what inspired today's episode, because it's really important to me that inside the Method Actor Circle, I'm making sure you're always giving quality performances, because we know that that's what in turn leads to you landing more roles and your career taking off quicker. But because this has been requested so many times, I thought it would make such a brilliant episode as well. So I wouldn't usually do the episodes based on what's going on inside of the Method Actor Circle, but because I'm getting so many requests for it at the minute, I thought, okay, let's just do this. Now, obviously, I will talk to you a little bit more about the Method Actor Circle a little bit later on in the episode, but let's just dive into what Nathan asked me then. So before I answer and give you my response to what Nathan had said, there are a few caveats that I need to address first. And the first one is that it is very, very normal to feel blocked emotionally. However, we do obviously need to do something about it, as it's going to completely hinder your growth as an actor if you just leave it. So Nathan, I am very proud of you for acknowledging this in yourself and also having the confidence to ask about it and to seek out the guidance. So give yourself a big pat on the back. The second thing I need to share with you is that in my 13 years of coaching actors, I have noticed that in males especially, they struggle with emotions. Now, this is not me being sexist. This comes from the societal conditioning of big boys don't cry, which is utter bollocks. You know, humans, whatever sex you are, feel all feel all emotions on the spectrum. But I do notice that it is especially males that struggle with the more feminine emotions. So Nathan's not exactly said which particular emotions is struggling with. He's just said, he's just struggling with emotions in general. But that is something to be aware of. Now, thirdly, whatever sex you are, you will naturally gravitate towards certain emotions anyway, depending on what the emotional thermostat of your house was growing up. So let's say anger was rife in your household growing up. One or two things is going to happen. You're either going to feel very comfortable in that emotion and you're going to be able to access it very easily, or if it made you feel uncomfortable growing up, you'll try and avoid it and you'll feel blocked with it. Now, in my own upbringing, I wasn't brought up in a family that said they loved each other. So they're the kind of emotions that I would have said were more vulnerable to me earlier on in my acting career. And I remember having a line to say, which was, I love you. And this was years ago in my professional training. And the director didn't believe me, obviously, because I struggled with that sort of stuff. But instead of inquiring and giving me exercises, he just kept asking me to say it over and over and over again. And the more I said I love you, the more he told me he didn't believe it. So it just made me disconnect further because I actually couldn't see how I needed to connect to it. I didn't know what I needed to do. I was just saying the line, I love you, and I thought I was saying it truthfully, but I wasn't. So you don't need to repeat things over and over when you're struggling to connect. You need exercises that will unlock the emotions, and obviously that's what I'm going to share in this episode. But there's something else I want to share with you as well. You don't need to overanalyze or psychoanalyze yourself. You don't need to psychoanalyze your childhood. If you enjoy doing that, go ahead and do it, but it's not a requirement. I'm just sharing this information with you to reassure you why you would be blocked with emotions, so you know that there's nothing wrong with you. Because I know as actors, we can be very sensitive and we can sometimes turn inwards on ourselves and go, I'm just not good enough. And there's a lot of variables at play as to why we wouldn't be able to express or tap into emotions. And, as I've already said, when emotions are difficult to access, there is usually one of the above blockages present in an actor, and there are others as well. I'm not going to go into these in this episode, but we don't need to play therapist. What we do need to do, though, is we need to train your nervous system that it is completely safe to feel emotions. And we do this through the chair relaxation exercise. So there's two parts to the chair relaxation exercise. There's the movement part and there's the voice part. Now, for some actors, it's the voice part of the exercise that gives them access to their emotions, especially if they've been blocked for a while. And for others, it's the movement part, and it can be particular body parts that do it as well. So it might be the muscles in the back, which I'm not going to go into loads of detail about this because I don't want to make this a science lesson or a psychology lesson, but I am very, very interested in how the body works. And there is evidence and studies that suggest and can share how emotions get trapped in the muscles, which is why it makes sense as to what I see in the classes when actors move a particular set of muscles and that releases emotions. But we're not going to delve into that because you don't really need to know that. That's something I would go more into in the classes themselves. So as I said, it can be a particular muscle group that releases this emotion, or it can be the voice. But this is the exercise that we start every single one of the character development classes with inside of the Method Actor Circle. And we do this for an hour because it's important that you have a good long stretch with it. Because the nervous system, if you are blocked with emotions, just doing 10 minutes or 15 minutes is not going to be any good for telling it or signalling to it that it is safe to feel emotions. Now, whilst this is happening in the character development classes, I'm keeping an eye on every single actor to be able to guide them individually, even though they're in a group setting. Because with actors who are blocked with emotions, I can usually spot it coming out in them, but they don't know it's there, because they're so blocked to them. So I guide them with this. And it is a very, very powerful exercise. So I might guide them to do particular movements to encourage the release of that emotion, or I might guide them with the voice and I might encourage them to go into a particular register in the voice, like the chest register or the head register. It's very, very interesting. It's a really interesting exercise. And I've seen students crying, I've seen them getting angry and frustrated, and I've seen them getting very uncomfortable and going to fits of giggles. This is all normal where emotions have been suppressed and where an actor is feeling blocked with them. But of course, what will usually happen is the actor will try to suppress them because that's what they know. And it's through the guidance where I reassure the actor and I guide them safely to release it, that they're actually able to access them and feel them for the first time in what can be a long time in an acting setting. So we do allow these emotions out safely. Now, obviously, if this has been quite tiring, which it can be because any kind of emotional work is tiring, even if you do a scene and let's just go to the extreme and say someone's died and that's the scene that you've done, you're going to feel exhausted after that. So after the Methods chair relaxation exercise, if an actor who has been blocked with emotions for quite a while has actually released them, we'll do a step out after that to just then reset the nervous system and bring it back to like a baseline and back to homeostasis, so it's all in balance. So everything is done safely and controlled. But here's the thing, sometimes it can take actors a few sessions to get to a point where they allow suppressed emotions out. Sometimes it can happen straight away, and sometimes it can take more than a few sessions. And either way, there's nothing wrong with you. It's all okay because it happens when it happens. You can't force this. The idea is not that we're using this as therapy. I want to get that right out of your head, just in case those thoughts have entered your head. It's that we're training your body that if an emotion does surface, it's safe and there's nothing to be frightened of, which is why you need guidance with this, because obviously we are in the art of emotion as actors. In every single scene, we can't avoid it. Emotions have been written into them. So we've got to get you acclimatized to feeling them. So that's why we use the chair's relaxation exercise first. And that would be the exercise to use to start getting you to connect to your emotions again. Now, the second exercise is substitution. And with this, we get your imagination on board, because what the imagination visualizes, the body feels. So we're almost tricking you into believing that you're simply using your imagination. But what follows is the emotion the scene demands of you. And this is why this is a simple yet amazing exercise. So this is really, really good for when you need emotions in the micro moments of the scene, where you just need like a little flash of an emotion, or where an emotion is needed and it's a quick burst and you need it instantaneously, but it's not necessarily the emotion that the scene started with, or it's not the emotion that the scene needs throughout. So this is also good for those actors who are a little more emotionally blocked. And again, this is an exercise we do in both the character development classes and the audition zone classes inside of the Method Actor Circle. And what I absolutely love about both of these exercises, which I don't just coach my actors in, I use them myself as well because they give me the results that I need. Every time I've used the Methods Chair relaxation exercise and substitution, I have always got amazing feedback from directors. Always, always, always. And that in turn is then building a brilliant reputation for you as an actor, because then you come across as an actor who can be trusted and who is reliable. So these exercises go beyond just giving you what you need in the scene. They actually go a long way in helping you build an incredible reputation and a long-lasting career. But the other thing that I love about them is that they give you the confidence you need to access your emotions and stay in control of them in the scene. And they allow you to bring a level of depth in scenes that other actors aren't. So like I said, you are standing out when it comes to auditioning, because obviously that's what it's about. You've got to do something different. All the actors who cruise about in Hollywood, in all the big Hollywood films, and who constantly show up on your TV screens via Netflix and Amazon Prime, they knew this. They knew that they had to do something different to firstly land the role, and then they also knew that they had to do something different to keep an acting career going as well. And it's something you need to do too if you are serious about your acting career and you want any chance of it taking off. So this is another reason I use these exercises, because one job can lead to another. So you have heard the level of depth that I go into in these episodes. Can you even imagine the level of depth I go into when I coach you and I guide you through these exercises practically? Are you feeling inspired right now? Are you like, oh my gosh, wow, I've learned so much? If you are, can you imagine where your inspiration levels will be at inside the Method Actor Circle, and just how much depth your own acting work is going to have, and how confident you'd feel, and how much amazing feedback you'd be getting out there in the industry? Well, this is available to you inside the Method Actor Circle. It gives you access to drop-in character development classes, drop-in audition zone classes. You can be from anywhere in the world to join the Method Actor Circle and get access to these career-changing training classes, because they're all in an online workshop space. And the beauty of them is that if you can't attend a class, because they're obviously drop-in, they're all recorded and they're uploaded into our private portal, so you can just go and rewatch them at your own leisure. Or even if you've participated in a class, you can go back and watch it again, and you can watch how you were coming across in your scenes. And I think that is phenomenal as an actor, to be able to watch yourself and learn where you were going wrong and what you were doing right. So this is the best way to get your acting career up and running. It is the best way to be bringing more depth to your scenes, to your characters, to your auditions. It is the best way to be getting that amazing feedback from directors when you're putting the tools to practice out there in the industry. So go and click the link underneath this episode to secure your place, and I will have your performances oozing authenticity and depth in no time. Hope you've enjoyed this episode.
I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.